Welcome back to Wave 3 Listens 25 again. Lisa Fetter, as I mentioned before, a nurse practitioner, and member Paul McCrory have joined me. If you have a question, 571-5263. I want to talk a little bit about symptoms because I think there's a bit of a checklist, and admittedly, I was looking at the list and I'm going, okay, I'm there. I know a lot of this is due to age, but you can be proactive. So if you would, some of the symptoms that you might want to be leery of, Lisa.
Sure. So not sleeping as well at night, not having as much energy, weight gain for no apparent reason. I have people tell me all the time, I'm exercising, I'm eating right, and I still gain weight. Stress, any changes in mood, hot flashes for women is a big one, and sometimes even men have hot flashes.
And, you know, we talk about being proactive because I think the old medical, I guess, process was, okay, let's find out what's wrong and let's give you some medication. Let's write you out a prescription. And don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on it instead of, hey, let's get better. Let's get this positive snowball effect going on. Speak to that a little bit because you know that, and don't get me wrong, if you have an issue and you need medication, this isn't an anti-medication show or an anti-medication business, correct?
Right,
yeah.
Right. I get teased a lot that I'm anti-medication, and I'm not that. But what I do see, I did work in traditional medicine for some time, for a lot of years, and I saw a lot of pharmaceuticals used, and I saw people getting better with certain issues. But a lot of times when you prescribe one pharmaceutical, that leads to another one to combat the side effects of the first pharmaceutical. So I saw that quite often, and I did a little bit of, I'm going to say, dabbling in hormones when I was in a primary practice, and what I saw was the patients I treated with hormones, they got better. The patients I was treating with traditional pharmaceuticals, I didn't see a lot of improvement.
Because it's more reactionary instead of being proactive.
It's a Band-Aid, like you said.
There we go. Well, let's go to the phones. We've asked for phone calls, and we shall receive. Kevin is with us now. Kevin, good afternoon, and welcome to Wave 3 Listens Live.
Hey, good afternoon. I was just wondering if this program was something that most major insurance companies would cover.
Lisa?
John, we do not bill insurance. We do, you can submit a request for reimbursement to your insurance company. Some of my members tell me that their insurance company is providing some reimbursement. I don't know the dollar amount. Every insurance company is so different. We also take flex spending or health savings, which are offered through certain employers.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Bonnie now, who joins us. Bonnie, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show. Hello, Bonnie. Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I wanted to ask when you go to the doctor and he takes the blood test, why can't he detect these low libidos and all of that?
Okay.
That's a very good question, and your physician certainly could. However, traditional medicine is not so much trained to look there. You know, what we do is very specialized. It's kind of outside of the norm, and we look at hormones, every hormone, and traditionally medicine doesn't do that. When I was in primary practice, we didn't look at hormones unless there was something very specific to look for. So when you go to your doctor and you're complaining about things like fatigue and other symptoms that happen as hormones decline, that's just not their first go-to. That's not how they were taught and trained. It's not how I was taught and trained when I was in school as well.
Thank you for the call. Paul, I want to ask you, because we're talking about, you know, physicians' visits, and I don't want to start talking about specifically about health care and those issues. That's a whole other can of worms. But I think we all have become accustomed to the quick visit, the, 10 minutes, what do you got, what do you have, okay, here's a prescription, boom, and they're on to the next office, the little rooms that they have there, procedure rooms. So what was your experience like when you were talking to Lisa at 25 again?
Wow. That's a great question. Lisa is very knowledgeable. Lisa took a lot of time, actually, and poor Lisa. I'm an engineer, and so she put up with a lot of questions from me. I really did pelter her with questions. I wanted to know everything. And so my experience was probably, I would say, was excellent, right? Because she was very patient with me and gave me a lot of good information, a lot of the whys behind it. The only other thing I would say is she, instead of going for just meeting the acceptable standards, they go for optimal, and she really stressed that to me as well. And so those numbers, your typical doctor, they're not really looking for optimal. I don't know if that's a point that she made that I really wanted to stress here.
Question for you. You mentioned engineer, and that resonated with me, so I'm going, okay, your job requires a lot of mental focus. Have you noticed your mental acuity, your ability to focus go up?
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes, the job I do now, which is I'm a 3D graphics artist, basically. I do CG graphics, McCrory Digital. But anyway, what I need to do there, I sit at my computer and I really have to focus. So this has been a big help for that. You know, it's the physical side for sure, but there's also that, I guess you'd say, mental focus side as well that's been very helpful.
Interesting. You talked about your visit. When you visit a patient, you're getting their blood work, their lab work here, Lisa. What do you look for? Obviously, we've talked about the hormones, but what other maybe trace minerals, vitamins are you looking for to seeing if they match a 25-year-old?
Right. So magnesium's a big one. That declines as we age. A lot of us are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium is very preventative. It prevents osteoporosis, hypertension, diabetes. So that's one. We also look at vitamin D, which you mentioned earlier. Most people in this area, they're low in vitamin D3. And it's funny, I have people tell me, well, I'm out in the sun a lot, but unless you're out in the sun with no clothes on, it doesn't matter. It requires full body exposure.
I did that a couple of times. My neighbors complained it wasn't good. Yeah, try cutting the grass with no clothes on. It really
no, I won't advise that.
Not a pretty sight.
Right.
Okay, but interesting. Okay, so 25 again. Body Shapes, formerly Body Shapes Medical. Again, I want to go over the special. If you're listening and this resonates, maybe you're not getting the sleep you'd like, you miss your old energy levels, the libido, we mentioned that. That's all included here. 25 again. Feel 25 again. Half price, right?
That's right. You got it. Half off a consultation fee. That's a lab draw and a 1-hour analysis of the lab work. It's normally $150. You can get it for $75 today. Go to 25again.com. This offer expires at midnight. You can call 502-425-0500 with questions. And the lab work is not included in that cost. You would pay for that. We use LabCorp.
Okay, Lisa, I wanted to ask you here, and obviously you're growing very fast. You're giving the people what they want. It's very popular. You're also adding staff. You mentioned you have a new doctor on board. Tell me.
We do have a new physician on board. His name is Dr. House, and he's an anesthesiologist by background, but he's been doing what we're doing, and he's gone through all the training that I've gone through, and he's so excited to see this business grow, and we are growing fast, very fast.
You have your own pharmacy?
We have our own pharmacy, New Vitalis, and they're excellent in providing service to our patients. Most of the time they get their prescriptions next day.
I would think, you know, if you look at, like we said, the I guess what we'd call the older form of medicine and the approach there, and now with it being proactive. This, to me, I would think would be very rewarding for you, Lisa, in that now you're seeing people, they're not sick, you know, they're just wanting to feel better. And if you can achieve that, maybe you can avoid becoming sick, as you mentioned earlier, right?
Right. I do. I love that component of it. Most people, they're there because they have these symptoms, they want to lose weight, and they're not really, they don't understand the long-term benefits. You know, so I get to educate them on what we know we prevent, osteoporosis, diabetes, certain types of cancers. And that's really what our focus is, long-term health. And, you know, the good thing about it is you get to feel 25 again. So that's just a nice benefit.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, now I always ask when I have members on the show, I wanted to ask you real quickly, is what do you tell your friends? What do you tell your friends about
well, I don't have to talk. They look at me and they say, wow, what are you doing? So I have some, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law who also have been a part of this program. Both of them have lost over 60 pounds each. Wow. So I really don't have to talk, although I do like to talk. So I tell them.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I've told quite a few people about it, and the benefits, the weight loss are great, but obviously the benefits of the hormones are even better. It's much more than just weight loss, really.
All right. Plenty of locations. Again, 25 again. We shall return. If you have a question, 571-5263. We'll be right back on Wave 3 Listens.